Olivia slammed the letter onto the mahogany table, her hands trembling as her eyes scanned the damning words. She had always trusted her family, but this revelation shattered every illusion. Her heart raced, betrayal choking her chest. Michael's voice echoed in her mind, warning her not to trust anyone blindly, yet she had never imagined he could hide such a truth. The photo tucked inside the envelope revealed a secret that could destroy everything she held dear. Tears blurred her vision as she clenched her fists, vowing justice. Every corner of the lavish living room seemed suffocating now, the chandelier casting distorted shadows over her grief. She whispered, "I can't believe this. How could they?" Her determination hardened with every beat of her pounding heart, setting her on a path that would change her life forever. Olivia sank into the velvet armchair, still gripping the letter as disbelief consumed her. Her mind raced, tracing every past conversation, every hidden glance, trying to understand how her family could harbor such betrayal. Michael hovered nearby, silent yet expectant, sensing the storm within her. The quiet hum of the chandelier overhead did nothing to ease the tension. She whispered fragments of questions into the empty room, seeking answers from the shadows. Memories collided with the present, each revelation slicing through her carefully constructed life. Her pulse quickened with a mix of fear and determination. She knew she couldn't turn back, and the realization ignited a spark of resolve. This path would demand everything of her, yet she felt ready to face whatever truths lay ahead. The memory of her childhood home flashed vividly, laughter and light masking the undercurrents of deceit that had always lingered. Olivia ran her fingers along the letter's edges, absorbing the implications. Each line of the letter tore at her sense of trust, revealing fractures she had never noticed. Michael finally spoke, his voice low. "Olivia, there's more you don't know." Her pulse quickened as she realized this was just the beginning. Shadows danced across the walls, echoing the turbulence in her mind. She could almost hear the whispers of betrayal threading through the halls of her memory. The weight of this revelation pressed down, yet a glimmer of resolve formed. The path ahead was treacherous, but retreat was no longer an option. Every decision she made from now on would define the life she fought to reclaim. The chandelier flickered as Olivia rose, her hands trembling with a mixture of fear and anger. She moved toward the wall of family portraits, each frame now a testament to hidden lies. Michael followed cautiously, hesitant yet determined to offer support. "How could they hide this for so long?" she asked quietly, voice breaking, echoing off the ornate walls. The weight of the secret pressed down on her, yet a spark of determination ignited. Shadows stretched long across the room, mirroring the depth of her resolve. She clenched her fists, feeling the icy resolve of vengeance begin to replace despair. Michael placed a tentative hand on her shoulder, offering quiet support. The atmosphere thickened with tension, the air heavy with unspoken words. Every breath she took seemed to echo the promise of the path she had chosen. Rain began tapping against the tall windows as Olivia stared outside, lost in thought. The letter rested on the table, its words echoing in her mind like a drumbeat of betrayal. Michael remained silent beside her, giving her space yet remaining vigilant. Each flash of lightning illuminated her determined face, shadows of the past dancing in the reflection. She whispered to herself, "I will uncover the truth, and they will pay for what they've done." Her heart hardened with resolve, leaving no room for doubt. The storm outside mirrored the tempest within her, wild and unstoppable. Every fiber of her being demanded action, and she knew that hesitation could cost her everything. The path to justice and vengeance was set, and she would walk it alone if necessary, with Michael as her witness to the darkness she now embraced. Olivia sank onto the edge of the sofa, still clutching the letter as the storm outside pounded against the windows. Michael leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, unsure if his presence was comfort or intrusion. The weight of betrayal pressed down on her chest, each breath sharp and uneven. Shadows from the flickering chandelier played across the walls, echoing the turmoil within. She whispered, "I thought I knew them. I thought I could trust them. Memories of laughter and warmth twisted into a cruel mockery. Michael stepped closer cautiously, his voice low. "Well, find the truth, Olivia, I promise." Her eyes glistened, torn between despair and the first glimmer of determination. The room felt smaller, the walls closing in as she realized the journey ahead would test every limit of her endurance and resolve. The clock ticked loudly in the silent room as Olivia traced her fingers along the letter, rereading the words that had upended her world. Each line felt heavier than the last, like a chain tightening around her heart. Michael hovered nearby, hesitant, offering quiet encouragement. "We have to act carefully," he said. "One wrong move, and everything could be lost." She nodded, lips pressed tightly, her mind spinning with possibilities. The storm outside mirrored her inner chaos, wind rattling the window panes. Thoughts of betrayal collided with memories of happier times, each memory now laced with suspicion. Olivia's determination began to crystallize into a plan, fragile but unyielding, a fire igniting within her chest. She knew patience would be her ally as the path to justice and vengeance stretched before her like a dark, winding road. Memories of whispered conversations and secret smiles haunted Olivia as she paced the room. Every familiar corner now seemed tainted by deceit. Michael's voice interrupted her spiraling thoughts. "Olivia, we need proof before confronting anyone." Her fists clenched unconsciously, nails digging into her palms. Shadows stretched across the hardwood floor, mirroring the growing darkness in her mind. The room's warmth felt deceptive, like a mask hiding the betrayal underneath. She stopped mid-step, staring at the chandelier above, its crystals catching raindrops' reflections from the window. A plan began to form, tentative, but relentless. The path ahead demanded courage and cunning, and Olivia realized she could no longer rely on trust alone. Every step would need to be measured, every ally scrutinized, and every secret uncovered. Olivia's eyes darted to the family portraits lining the hallway, faces frozen in smiles that now seemed mocking. She ran her fingers along the edges of each frame, feeling the weight of unspoken lies. Michael followed silently, careful not to break her focus. "They hid everything from you," he said, voice low, almost a whisper. The realization struck deeper than the storm outside ever could. Her pulse quickened, heart hammering with a mixture of anger and resolve. The silence in the hallway amplified every thought, each one sharper than the last. Shadows from the flickering chandelier stretched unnaturally, bending around her like silent witnesses. The room seemed alive with tension, every creak of the floorboards echoing betrayal. Olivia clenched her jaw, the resolve in her eyes hardening. This journey would demand cunning, patience, and relentless pursuit of the truth. The storm intensified outside, rain hammering against the windows as Olivia settled at the desk, laying out the letters and photos she had gathered. Michael stood nearby, scanning the documents, his expression grave. Each piece of evidence revealed layers of deception, confirming suspicions that had been forming for weeks. "We need a strategy," he said, tone firm, yet gentle. Olivia's gaze hardened, determination radiating from her every feature. She aligned the photos and notes meticulously, like assembling pieces of a puzzle that had been intentionally scattered. Shadows from the rain-streaked windows fell across the papers, creating patterns as chaotic as her thoughts. Yet in the chaos, clarity emerged. She knew what had to be done, and the plan she would execute would change everything. No hesitation, no mercy, her path to justice had begun. Olivia studied the documents spread across the desk, each revealing alliances she had never suspected. Michael leaned close, his eyes scanning the notes with a mix of concern and determination. The revelation that her family had been secretly conspiring with the very people who caused her pain hit her like a tidal wave. Shadows cast by the flickering candlelight danced across the walls as she clenched her jaw. Every decision from this point would carry consequences, each step more dangerous than the last. "We can't trust anyone blindly," she muttered, her voice edged with icy resolve. Michael nodded silently, understanding the unspoken warning. The room felt tighter, the air heavy with tension, as Olivia began connecting the dots, her mind racing through possibilities. One misstep could cost them everything, yet retreat was no longer an option. A knock on the door startled Olivia, and she glanced at Michael, both bracing for intrusion. It was Lila, 30, female, a former ally turned reluctant supporter, her expression tight with worry. "I heard about the letters. You need to be careful," Lila whispered urgently. Olivia felt the weight of new information pressing down on her. Every move had to be calculated, every word measured. Michael stepped closer protectively, his presence a silent shield. The room seemed to shrink with the tension, shadows curling unnaturally across the furniture. Olivia nodded at Lila, masking the storm in her chest with determination. "We have a plan," she said firmly, her voice carrying a promise of action. Outside, the rain fell harder, drumming against the windows like a heartbeat in sync with their anxiety. Each revelation drove them closer to a confrontation they could not avoid. Olivia's pulse quickened as she followed Lila to a hidden compartment behind the bookcase. The flickering light of a single lamp illuminated confidential documents that could expose the entire conspiracy. Michael's gaze darted around the room, calculating escape routes and surveillance points. The stakes had escalated. Each secret uncovered painted a target on their backs. Olivia whispered, "This changes everything. Now we know who's really involved." Lila nodded, fingers brushing over the files with careful precision. Shadows of the past seemed to stir in the corners of the room, as if watching their every move. Their combined resolve hardened, determination etched in every line of their faces. The moment demanded absolute focus and trust, and they moved forward, knowing hesitation could cost them more than just time. Every second carried a weight heavier than the last, pulling them deeper into the dangerous game ahead. In the quiet of the study, Olivia laid the new evidence before Michael and Lila. Each paper detailed betrayals from unexpected sources, some close family members, others influential allies turned traitors. "Every line confirms what we feared," she said quietly, her voice barely above a whisper, though her eyes burned with resolve. Michael's fists clenched, knuckles white, while Lila's expression wavered between shock and grim determination. Rain streaked against the windows, a relentless drumbeat echoing the tension in their minds. Shadows twisted across the walls, amplifying the unease. Olivia traced her finger across a photograph, connecting names and faces in a web of deceit. The room seemed to pulse with the weight of revelation, each breath filled with anticipation of the confrontation that lay ahead. They knew they could not falter. Every move now required precision and courage. Olivia stood at the window, watching rain cascade down the glass, reflections of city lights flickering like memories of trust shattered. Michael leaned against the desk behind her, silent yet vigilant. Lila checked the documents one last time, ensuring no detail was overlooked. "We have what we need," Olivia said finally, turning toward them with a determined glare. Every betrayal uncovered had sharpened her instincts, every secret revealed had strengthened her resolve. Outside the storm raged, echoing the turmoil inside. Shadows danced across the walls, stretching long across the floor, mirroring the dark path they had chosen. Olivia clenched her fists, a promise forming in her mind. No one would escape justice. The journey ahead was perilous, but the pieces were finally in place for a confrontation that would leave nothing unchanged. Olivia's heart raced as she opened a sealed envelope that had arrived without a return address. Inside were photographs showing Michael meeting with a shadowy figure late at night. Confusion collided with anger, and doubt crept into her mind. She confronted him, voice trembling. "Michael, what is this?" His expression faltered, revealing a side of him she hadn't seen before. Shadows from the lamp stretched across the room, creating a maze of uncertainty. The storm outside intensified, rattling the windows in sync with her pulse. Olivia's thoughts swirled. Was the person she had trusted most secretly part of the betrayal? Her hands shook, clutching the envelope as a cold determination replaced her initial shock. Every bond she had relied upon now felt fragile, and the path ahead seemed more treacherous than ever. Michael's lips trembled as he tried to explain. Olivia, I had no choice. I was trying to protect you. His voice was strained, laced with guilt. Lila, standing nearby, exchanged a wary glance, sensing the growing tension. Olivia's mind raced, reconciling trust with evidence of deceit. Every memory of collaboration and shared struggle now seemed layered with hidden agendas. Shadows flickered along the floor, cast by the swaying lamp and rain outside. Her pulse thundered in her ears as she whispered, "If this is true, everything changes." The room felt smaller, suffocating, as doubt and betrayal wrapped around them like a vice. Olivia's jaw clenched, resolve battling with shock, while Michael's eyes begged for understanding. The storm outside echoed the turmoil inside, a reminder that every choice carried consequences she could no longer ignore. Olivia's mind reeled as she reviewed the photographs, each revealing meetings with people connected to her family's betrayal. Michael's defensive posture betrayed his unease. Lila stepped forward, voice calm but firm. "We need clarity before acting." Olivia's hands trembled slightly as she stacked the evidence, shadows from the flickering lamp creating jagged lines across the floor. Every face in the photographs seemed to mock her. Doubt and suspicion gnawed at her, yet her determination to uncover the truth remained unbroken. She looked at Michael, searching for honesty in his eyes, and found a flicker of fear that mirrored her own. The storm outside intensified, wind rattling the windows in rhythm with her racing heartbeat. Every revelation heightened the stakes, pushing her toward a confrontation she could no longer postpone. Olivia confronted Michael directly, voice steady despite the storm raging outside. "If you were protecting me, why didn't you tell me?" she demanded, eyes blazing. Michael lowered his gaze, conflicted. "I couldn't risk anyone knowing. It would have put you in danger." Lila's expression softened slightly, understanding the complexity yet wary of deception. Olivia's hands clenched at her sides, muscles taut with tension. Rain streaked down the windows, reflections forming fractured patterns on the floor. Shadows seemed to twist unnaturally around the trio, amplifying the uncertainty. Each revelation had layered mistrust over loyalty, and Olivia realized that navigating truth and deception would require cunning and precision. Her resolve hardened. No secret would escape scrutiny, no betrayal would remain hidden. As the storm outside reached its peak, Olivia finally spoke, voice calm but resolute. "We move forward together, but every move is mine to decide." Michael nodded, silent but resolute, while Lila adjusted the documents, preparing for the next phase. Shadows danced wildly across the walls, echoing the chaos and the decisions to come. Olivia's mind raced, mapping every betrayal, every hidden alliance, every piece of evidence into a plan. The room felt alive with tension, a crucible for the choices that would follow. Rain lashed against the windows, a rhythmic reminder that time was fleeting. Olivia's eyes hardened, her resolve unyielding. Every secret uncovered had strengthened her determination to see justice done. The twists of fate had thrown obstacles in her path, but now she was ready to confront them head-on, fully aware that nothing would ever be the same. Olivia spread the gathered evidence across the desk, arranging photos, letters, and confidential files with meticulous precision. Michael stood nearby, arms folded, while Lila observed quietly, her eyes scanning every document. "We can't leave anything to chance," Olivia said, voice calm but determined. Each piece of information revealed hidden weaknesses, connections between allies and enemies that had gone unnoticed. Shadows from the lamp flickered across the papers as rain lashed against the windows, emphasizing the urgency. Olivia's mind worked like a machine, calculating risks and outcomes, each decision a step closer to reclaiming what had been taken. Michael nodded subtly, acknowledging her leadership, while Lila offered a quiet word of encouragement. The room hummed with tension, a strategic war room readying for the storm that was to come. The plan began taking shape as Olivia outlined roles and contingencies. "We hit where it hurts first, but we stay invisible," she instructed, voice sharp and confident. Michael nodded, considering the logistics, while Lila noted crucial contacts and vulnerabilities. Every second of preparation mattered. One misstep could undo weeks of effort. Olivia's pulse quickened with anticipation, her gaze fixed on the evidence. Shadows of the storm outside reflected across the room, twisting over the walls and floor as if echoing the chaos she intended to unleash. Each connection, every secret ally, and hidden enemy was mapped in her mind. "We move at night," Olivia said quietly, her resolve hardening. "Timing is everything." The room exuded controlled tension, a calm before the inevitable storm of action. Olivia rehearsed each step of the plan aloud, her voice steady, sharp, and unwavering. Michael confirmed escape routes and alternative strategies while Lila cross-referenced data points with evidence. Tension coiled tightly around them, yet their collective focus was unshakable. Every detail mattered, from timing to positioning, from observation points to potential interference. Olivia paused briefly, imagining possible outcomes, weighing consequences with surgical precision. Shadows flickered against the walls, cast by both lamp and storm, highlighting the intensity of the moment. Her determination radiated through the room, unwavering in the face of danger. "Tonight we act," she said finally, eyes locked on Michael and Lila. A silent vow of unwavering resolve shared between them. The evening had descended into near silence, broken only by the patter of rain against the windows. Olivia double-checked every piece of evidence, ensuring no oversight could compromise their strategy. Michael paced slowly, thinking through contingencies, while Lila adjusted documents and annotated critical points. The air was thick with anticipation, and the faint scent of rain. Olivia's mind raced, envisioning every scenario, every confrontation, and every trap that could be sprung. Shadows stretched across the floor, twisting unnaturally in the dim lamplight. "We must stay unseen until the moment is ours," she reminded them, voice firm. Each heartbeat marked the countdown to action, the tension palpable as they braced for the first strike in their calculated retaliation. The final moment of preparation arrived and Olivia rose, voice quiet but resolute. "Everything is in place. We move on my signal." Michael adjusted his jacket, eyes alert and focused, while Lila secured documents and equipment. Outside, the storm raged, winds thrashing trees and rain hammering windows, a perfect mask for the movement to come. Shadows of their figures stretched across the room, sharp and elongated by flickering lamplight. Every breath, every glance, carried weight as the trio prepared to step into the night and execute the plan meticulously designed to expose betrayal and reclaim control. Olivia's heart thrummed with anticipation, determination hardening into cold precision. There was no turning back now. The path to retribution had begun. Olivia crept into the dimly lit warehouse, evidence and strategy guiding every step. Michael stayed close behind, eyes scanning the shadows, alert to every movement. Lila followed, carrying documents and a small bag of essential tools. The air smelled faintly of rain and metal, mixing with the tension that gripped them. Olivia whispered, "Stay sharp, this ends tonight." The faint sound of footsteps echoed in the distance, and her pulse quickened. She imagined every possible scenario, each trap and ambush carefully considered. Shadows from hanging beams stretched across the concrete floor, twisting with the dim light. Every instinct screamed caution, yet her resolve burned hotter than fear. Michael glanced at her silently, trust unspoken but absolute, while Lila's eyes darted between corners. Tonight, the culmination of months of planning would unfold. A sudden movement caught Olivia's eye. The enforcer emerged from the shadows, a threatening figure with a cold stare. Michael positioned himself in front, fists clenched, while Lila hid behind crates, observing. "Step aside or you'll regret it," the enforcer growled, voice echoing. Olivia's mind raced, calculating how to neutralize him without exposing herself. Her hands gripped the documents like a weapon, eyes locked on the target. Every step was deliberate, every breath measured. Shadows twisted violently across the floor as the storm outside roared, rain hammering the warehouse roof. Olivia whispered under her breath, "We control this, or it controls us." Determination steeled her nerves, and she felt a surge of calculated courage surge through her veins. The moment demanded precision, timing and nerves of steel. Olivia advanced slowly, voice low and commanding. "We're here to expose truth, not fight blindly," she declared. The enforcer hesitated, tension flashing across his features. Michael readied himself, calculating the risk of confrontation. Lila silently shifted positions, watching exits and potential reinforcements. Every flicker of light created shadows that seemed to animate the tension. Olivia's mind raced, balancing strategy and instinct. One wrong move, and months of preparation would crumble. Her eyes locked on the enforcer, reading subtle cues, preparing to exploit weakness. The warehouse seemed alive with anticipation, every creak of metal and drip of water echoing like a countdown. Olivia whispered, "This ends tonight, one way or another." The enforcer lunged suddenly, and Olivia sidestepped, narrowly avoiding the strike. Michael intercepted with a swift move, sending the enforcer staggering. Lila moved quickly, securing critical documents and signaling for backup if needed. The warehouse erupted into motion, shadows and light blending as tension reached its peak. Olivia's heart pounded, every instinct engaged, calculating attacks and counterattacks. Rain hammered the metal roof, echoing like gunfire. Every second stretched, each breath measured. She whispered, "Focus, precision, control." The storm outside mirrored the chaos inside, every shadow a potential threat. Michael and Lila moved in perfect synchrony with her commands, the trio becoming a singular force of calculated action. Victory would demand cunning, speed, and nerves of steel. Breathless but resolute, Olivia finally stood over the subdued enforcer, documents safely in hand. Michael's eyes scanned the room for additional threats, while Lila checked equipment, ensuring nothing was overlooked. The storm outside began to abate, leaving only the echo of their triumph and exhaustion. Shadows cast by flickering lights danced across the warehouse floor, reflecting the chaos and victory intertwined. Olivia whispered, "It's done. We have control now." Relief mingled with adrenaline as they realized the battle was won. But the war for truth and justice was far from over. Every betrayal exposed had strengthened their resolve, and Olivia knew that the confrontation tonight had set the stage for the final reckoning. The warehouse, once menacing and oppressive, now felt like a testament to their calculated courage and strategic precision. Olivia stood in the quiet aftermath, the warehouse now empty and still. Michael and Lila flanked her, their expressions a mix of relief and exhaustion. The storm outside had subsided, leaving only a soft drizzle tapping the metal roof. She examined the evidence one last time, ensuring every betrayal had been documented and every secret exposed. Shadows from the fading lights stretched long across the floor, emphasizing the calm after the chaos. Olivia's heart raced with a mix of triumph and lingering tension. "Oh," she whispered to herself, "this is only the beginning, but we've won this battle." Michael nodded silently, acknowledging the significance of the moment, while Lila allowed herself a small, relieved smile. The trio stood together, united by strategy, courage, and the scars of their journey. The team gathered their belongings, securing documents and evidence carefully. Olivia's mind replayed each step of the confrontation, every calculated decision, every moment of hesitation. Michael carried a bag of collected evidence, while Lila ensured nothing critical was left behind. The warehouse, once a stage of tension and chaos, now felt like a silent monument to their determination. Olivia's gaze lingered on the floor, imagining the consequences of each choice and betrayal exposed. Shadows from the sparse lighting shifted as the drizzle outside continued to fall. Her pulse steadied, and she felt the weight of justice achieved, but also the cost of vengeance. "We've done what had to be done," she said softly, voice tinged with both relief and lingering tension. Outside, the night air was cool and damp as Olivia, Michael, and Lila stepped into the empty parking lot. The city lights reflected on wet asphalt, creating a mosaic of color and shadow. Olivia breathed deeply, the adrenaline finally easing, but her mind remained vigilant. Every lesson of betrayal, every calculated strike, had sharpened her instincts. Michael glanced around, ensuring they were not followed, while Lila adjusted her bag, a quiet sense of closure settling over her. Olivia's eyes scanned the horizon, contemplating the lives affected and the paths still ahead. She whispered, "The battle is ours, but the war for truth continues." Despite relief, a steeliness remained, the edge of vengeance tempered but still present, ready for any future challenge. Olivia paused on the curb, staring at the city skyline as the drizzle continued to fall. Michael and Lila fell silent behind her, sensing the gravity of the moment. She reflected on the path that had brought her here, betrayals uncovered, enemies confronted, and truths exposed. Each revelation had strengthened her, shaping a resolve that no secret could shatter. Yet, in the quiet, she felt the weight of the journey pressing down. Every choice had consequences, and she knew vigilance was essential. "We've reclaimed what was taken," Olivia said softly, voice steady, "but nothing is truly over." The storm had passed, but the echoes of their struggle lingered, etched into memory and resolve alike. The night air felt like a promise of both endings and beginnings. Ow! The final moment came quietly. Olivia glanced back once, eyes scanning the street for any lingering threats. Michael and Lila flanked her, silent guardians of truth and justice. The wind carried away the last drops of rain, leaving the night still and expectant. Olivia's mind focused on the future, knowing the path of vengeance and justice was ongoing. But tonight they had prevailed. She straightened her shoulders, heart steady, and whispered, "This is only the beginning, but no one will betray us again." The city sprawled ahead, shadows blending with light, a canvas of possibilities and consequences. Their journey had transformed them, leaving scars, strength, and a resolve that would never falter. The night seemed endless, yet full of quiet triumph and lingering suspense.